Marine, volunteer, prisoner of war, fugitive. This is all about one man named Hennadii, a Marine who fought against the Russians in the besieged city of Mariupol and later hid for 9 months in the already captured city. This is just one of the many heroic tales of the battle for freedom.
At 4 a.m., the first heats landed. I opened the windows, overlooking Vodane. I saw them raining down phosphorus munitions on the military. My girlfriend remarked, "Oh, fireworks!" "Not really," I replied. "The war has begun."
Hennadii was born and raised in Mariupol, a city now symbolizing the horrors of war. He served in the army and extended his contract several times, ultimately joining the elite Marine unit of the armed forces after completing rigorous airborne troops training. In 2014, when Russia launched its hybrid war in Ukraine, Hennadii volunteered to fight. Throughout these years, he had been to numerous hot zones, repeatedly putting his life on the line. However, the main challenge lay ahead for both Hennadii and his hometown in 2022. 1 week after the full-scale invasion on March 1st, Mariupol was completely encircled. However, its defenders continued to fight. At that, the decision to fight for the city consolidated the individuals from very diverse backgrounds.
We had a 70-year-old man. The territorial defense unit turned him away, but he came to us and said, "I have a pump-action shotgun, and I want to fight." He was a wiry one. He explained, "I am old, my family is far away, I am alone here, and I have nothing to lose. Don't need anyone else in charge. It should either be me or the government."
Hennadii emerged as an unofficial leader of a small volunteer unit. In their first battle, they destroyed an enemy tank and several vehicles with personnel. However, eventually the volunteers became isolated from the rest of the Ukrainian defense forces in one of the city's districts, losing all means of communication.
At some point, I realized that they will probably kill me. I was extremely afraid of being captured.
For months, the Russians struggled to overcome the resistance of the defenders trapped in Mariupol, so they opted to simply annihilate the city. Every day, its streets were bombarded with artillery shells and high-capacity bombs.
Later, a Russian soldier said, "Our orders were to destroy Mariupol. It didn't matter whether you were there or not. Even if all the defenders had gathered in one place, we would have still destroyed the rest of the city."
At some point, news reached them that the defenders of Mariupol had sheltered in the renowned Azovstal plant. Under heavy enemy fire and intense fighting, the volunteer unit was losing its members. When only one comrade remained beside Hennadii, they decided to reach Azovstal by car and reunite with their fellow fighters. However, their car struck a mine on the way, resulting in the death of Hennadii's comrade. Shell-shocked, Hennadii managed to leave the vehicle, changed into civilian clothing he had found, and made his way to his home nearby. Hennadii spent some time in the basement of his house with his neighbors.
I met my neighbors, and they told me, "There are Russians over there, and there." I took a closer look and noticed them in nearly every entrance, done in our bulletproof vest, but with white armbands. Some were carrying machine guns. Well, I thought, here I am.
However, one day a stranger ran in, pleading for help. A shell had struck the house where he, his pregnant wife, and their children were staying, and they had to be taken out immediately. Hennadii volunteered to help them. He led the children and the man's wife out of the burning house. However, that man was the one to inform the Russians, suspecting Hennadii of being a Ukrainian soldier.
As I came out of the basement, an assault rifle was pointed at my face. The soldier, dressed in a green uniform and helmet, asked the man, "Is this the one?" The very man I had just helped to rescue his children affirmed yes. The soldier had me at gunpoint and ordered me to strip. I stripped, and he saw my army tattoos. I didn't really have time to process as he started kicking me. They tied me to a radiator with duct tape and took me up to the top floor from time to time for a talk. One day a guy came in and said, "You've been sentenced to death through execution." They said, "Let's go." There was a big church nearby under construction. They forced us all on our knees, and the sound of gunfire echoed. Bang, 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 bang.
As it turned out, it was a mock execution staged for fear and intimidation. After that, it was repeated on several other occasions. Meanwhile, the Russians kept saying they had won already. They had captured Kyiv and Lviv. However, at some point, they announced their future assault on Azovstal. Hennadii was baffled. If they couldn't even capture a single plant after all this time, how could they have taken Kyiv and Lviv? When the Russians left to attack the plant once again, Hennadii decided to run away. He managed to break free, climbed out of a window, and made his getaway. The Marine attempted to reach his friends at Azovstal under cover.
It was carnage. You walk amidst corpses with arms and legs torn off. Nobody bothered to collect them. Entire neighborhoods had been abandoned. Places where I used to drive through, once busy intersections, were reduced to nothingness. Everything was burned down. You walk and it's dead silent, and piles of lifeless bodies.
He couldn't break through to his fellow fighters. On May 20th, the defense of Azovstal came to an end when the defenders received orders to save their lives. Hennadii was left alone in the city under enemy control. For months, he hid in basements, thinking only of one thing: how to survive.
В итоге я вот уже, так знаешь, Новый год прошел, я суперски встретил Новый год. Отбивался от крыс, у меня было на шее.
As New Year's Eve arrived, I celebrated by fighting off rats. It was a full-blown invasion. They sought to eat my supplies, and I didn't want that at all. It was a serious battle. And one day, thanks to my friends and other people, representatives of the Navy reached out to me and said, "You're a good Marine. We have a proposition for you." I was like, "What?" And they explained the situation, disclosed the details of a highly classified evacuation plan, and said, "There is a 1% chance of success. We will help you, but there's just 1%. It's all or nothing."
The details of his evacuation remain undisclosed. However, on February 13th, 2023, the Marine was already at the Ukrainian-controlled territory. Currently, Hennadii is undergoing rehabilitation in the Ukrainian capital. He is already involved in providing instruction on small arms handling. And despite almost a year alone in his occupied hometown, he still believes in victory.
We will win. Do we really have a choice? This is our home and there are nothing but invaders. We must win.